Welcome back everybody. This week we're going back to basics, talking about pureed vegetables, which is called in English how to make a simple mash. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I've kind of realized that when it comes to pureed vegetables or just a mashed potato, the first instinct we have is, oh, that's so simple, I know how to make that. But then you look at it in more details. Well, we may know about potato mash, but what about all the other vegetables, knowing that every single or almost every single vegetable can be turned into a puree? And I've kind of revisited the subject and I was amazed to see, well, actually, I don't know that much about pureed vegetables. And if I give you 10 seconds right now to think, okay, mashed potatoes, what type of potato do you need to use? And what kind of ingredients do you add in your mashed potato to give that texture that is not too stiff, not too liquid? Are you using butter, milk, cream, a mix of both? And in what quantities? These are all the questions we're going to discuss in this video, alongside how to use some utensils like this one, and the food meal, vegetable meal, the sieve, the stick blender, that sort of things, and how we can make different types of mash. I'll also give you a little explanation to start with the type of vegetables, what kind of mash to expect, and how to mix and match everything to get a good result at the end. And of course, after that, demonstration. Let's go. Okay, so let's dive in and talk straight about the technical stuff. So as I said, pretty much almost every vegetable can be transformed into a puree. Okay, that's good to know. But then, how do you go about it? But the first thing you need to know is that there is two categories of vegetables. On the left-hand side, you got the starchy one. Potatoes, lentils, beans, peas, these are like the pearls type, rice, that sort of things. You cook it, you mash it, you get like a pulp that is very thick, very starchy. The other type of vegetable you're going to be dealing with are the high water content one. Carrot, turnip, celeriac, cauliflower, and yes, you can make a puree of asparagus, green beans, or even celery, okay? So you need to know to start with, okay, what type of vegetables you're going to be using. That is very important. Second, once you've selected the vegetable you want to use, you need to know the technique on how to transform this into a nice mash with the right consistency. If you're using a starchy vegetable, you're going to have an addition of either butter, cream, and or milk, and the ratio is usually around a third of the total weight. For 1 kilo of potato, roughly speaking, 300 grams or 300 milliliters of something else, either being the butter, the cream, a mix of both, or whatever. If you're using a high water content vegetable, sometimes like carrots, like we're gonna see, or sometimes turnips, when there's not too much water, you can get away by cooking them, mashing them, and reduce the water just in the pan, let it evaporate to get a decent consistency. But if the level of water is too high, so think cauliflower, celery, even green beans or asparagus, then you're gonna have to add some starchy product in there. Usually the ratio is 25% of the total weight. So what do we mean by that? If we're gonna make, like for instance, a demonstration, a turnip puree, we're gonna add 25% of potato puree to get the right consistency that we want. So you see, it's a very simple formula and it works really well. Of course, there's some little bits and pieces on how much cream do you put, cream, butter or milk, but we'll talk about this in the demonstration. Let's look at the ingredients we're going to be using now. Now, let's put this into practice and see how we can make delicious mash. We're going to keep things very, very simple using potatoes, carrots, and turnips. I want to do this because I want to make sure all of you can get this pretty much easy in a supermarket, online, wherever you are, maybe if you grow your own. Now, let's talk about mise en place and how to cook these vegetables. Mise en place, the first thing to know when you boil vegetables, you need to make sure they cook all in the same time. So you're going to cut them so that each piece is roughly the same size, as I did here. You see there's one piece of whole carrot and some of in quarters, but the total, if you look, it looks all the same. This is going to be cut in 4, and I've done the same for the potatoes. They're just quarters. So I know that when one is cooked, everything is cooked. In terms of cooking the vegetables, cooking potatoes is the exception. You always start to cook potatoes in cold water with salt, bring to the boil, and then let them to boil, for 20 minutes or so, 25, depending on how much you have, the size of the potatoes that you have, etc., etc. All the other vegetables, they're just cooked what we call à l'anglaise, meaning you bring water to the boil with salt, and then you plunge your vegetable, and again, you're gonna leave them to cook for some time. I'll tell you the exact times, okay? Now let's look at the utensils. And very briefly, let's talk about the utensils, the old, the new, and the useful. Starting with the old, we've got the food meal or vegetable meal, very useful for like tomato coulis, tomato, crushed tomato, puree of apples, like fruits and things. When it comes to puree, that works well with large amounts. If you have small amount in there, you're going to be struggling. So what do you do in this case? You're going to refer to this one instead, the stick blender. Very useful, very easy to use. You can put this into a pan, you're going to blitz the whole lot, and that's going to puree your vegetable nicely. Finally, the sieve, super useful tool. You're going to pass your puree that has been blended to have the extreme fine texture that you want for your pure vegetable. This is a very versatile and important tool. The very useful tool as well is this. I will advise everyone out there, please start using an electronic scale as soon as you learn cooking. This is so important. Everything you do, instead of guessing, or instead of doing bit of this, bit of that, for instance, here I've got my turnips, I'm going to put them on. Okay, roughly, I can put a container on there. Roughly, I've got almost 500 grams. I'm going to use this as my base for my ratio. I know how much I need to have 25% of that weight of potato after to complete my mash. It's fine. I can put my milk, measure my, my cream, my butter and everything. So we're going to be cooking the potatoes and the turnip the most simple way there is. That means with water and salt. There are other ways you can do it. We will see this with the carrots, but for now, let's look at the simple technique. Now, anytime you cook vegetables like this, you need salt, about 12 grams per liter of water. So I'm going to add some salt here, and then in my potato. Okay, so potato, same thing, 12 grams of salt. I'm using rock salt. And as you can see, we start here with cold water. So I'm putting my heat on high. I'm going to bring this to the boil. And same thing here, except that this is just the water. Perfect, so my water starts to boil. I've got my potatoes here. I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to put 20 minutes here. And I'm going to add my turnips in, and I'm going to use the same time. It takes roughly the same time, 20 minutes, 25 perhaps, to cook. Okay. So while our potatoes and turnips are cooking in the back, we have time to talk about the pureed carrot, this carrot mash that we're going to make, and this is going to be the gourmet version, the next level. Once you've mastered the basic with the salt, the water, this is where you can start to level up and do something different. So the puree of carrot we're going to make is the way it's made in some restaurants. We're going to use a pan. We're going to add some flavor. Flavors don't fall off a tree. If you want more flavors in your carrot away from salt, you're going to have to add something. So what we're going to do, butter with shallots. That's a layer of taste. We're going to put the carrots in. We're going to cook them with chicken stock. You can use vegetable stock if you're vegetarian, not a problem. And we're going to cook them à l'étuvée with a paper lid until almost all the liquid is gone. And then make the puree, add some cream, some seasoning, and that is going to give you something that is much more tasty. Okay, so let's start the carrots. I think we've got roughly how much? 6 minutes left on the other stuff. Plenty of time. What we're going to do, we're going to take the pan, and we're going to start by melting the butter on a medium to low heat. When it's melted, you add the shallots and you're going to leave them to cook in the butter while stirring a little bit for 1 or 2 minutes. Very good. So we've got no coloration on the shallots. I'm going to add my carrots in and then mix them around a little bit. Once I'm here, what I'm going to do is to add my stock. Of course, don't forget to add a little bit of salt. Very important. And to finish, we're going to add our little parchment paper here. The cartouche, why do we use this? Is to avoid that the carrot at the top dries up. It creates a bit of a steam and makes sure it's all uniform, and also slows down the evaporation of the water because we want to slow cook this. So I'm going to put this on medium heat and we're going to cook this for 30 minutes. The time is up. My turnips are cooked. You don't want to overcook them. They're nice and soft, okay? You can crush them with the finger. And my potatoes are almost there. I may have maybe 3-4 minutes more, but I'm going to drain the water out of the turnip first. My turnips have been drained, and I'm going to leave them here. I'm not going to cool them down. You don't add cold water on it or anything like this. I'm just going to leave them to cool down and some of the water to evaporate while the potato is ready. And when they're ready, we're going to go straight and pass the potato through that special food meal I've showed you. So as I mentioned, I've drained the potato. I've cleaned my pan here, so we're going to have all the puree coming in here. And I'm using this vegetable meal. So as I said, you need plenty of potatoes. If you have not the volume and the weight, when you actually turn, you see it's awkward already. You see how it starts to escape. So you have to go forward, sometimes a little bit backward to catch some more potatoes. And you grind, or you mix, I don't know what it's called in English. So you can see this kind of little spaghetti types of thing. This is really thin and there's no clumps. If you use this kind of press, sometimes there's big clumps of potato that go through. This is uniform and it's absolutely fine. So if I press, it's very, very soft. So now let's have a look at what we mean by starchy. At the beginning I said the starchy types of vegetable is this. You get a compact kind of paste. You see, it's not really appetizing. So I've got here my milk and my cream, and you can start by adding a bit of the milk and slowly incorporate. So it's up to you if you want to use only milk, or usually I think milk and cream for me is a good combination, and I like to finish with butter. I've got my extra little pieces of butter. They start to melt on their own because it's hot in my pan. I'm going to reduce the heat to very, very low, and that's going to be the final touch. All right, but we are done with the potato. Now let's move on to the turnip. Now for the turnips, I wanted to use the stick blender, but then I remember something, is that not all the vegetables are the same and some have got fiber. I don't know if you can see these little lines in here. These are fibers contained in the turnip. So in this case, it is best to use a sieve or the food mill. We're going to go the old-fashioned way, using a sieve, and all what we're going to do is to use a spoon and press down like this, mash everything through, and pass it through the sieve. And I'll show you what's left afterwards at the end. So there we have it. This is the amount of fiber that are left, that are not in your plate, because they've been retained by the sieve. This is why I love using a sieve. Okay, so the turnips compared to the potatoes was really starchy. If you look, it is very mushy, and that's the consistency we get. It is extremely watery. This is why you can turn the heat back on a little bit to evaporate the water a little bit, but you're going to need to add some of that potato mash to adjust the consistency. So what you need to add is exactly what we've made before, which is up to 100 grams, so we're going to do about 25% of that butter and cream type of mash. So you don't want to overdo it because it's going to transform otherwise in just a potato mash. But you're going to add your mash, and with a whisk, you're going to blend. Instead of using cream, for instance, of milk that's going to add liquid in that scenario, I would prefer, for instance, to add butter in this. I'm going to just add a little nudge of butter. My butter is in. Don't overdo it. I'm going to blend it in. And then we're going to check the seasoning, as always, salt and pepper. This is the basic mash. And now for the carrots. So this is cooked the special way with the stock. And as you can see, I've removed all of the excess of stock because I want to make sure we got first the right consistency. We're going to be using the modern technique here with the stick blender. So you want a little bit of juice, and or what you do, you can use a food processor if you want, but with the stick blender, you're going to press down and turn everything into a puree. Once I've done my mixing with the stick blender, I'm going to further pass this into a sieve. So I'm going to put this in a sieve, put it on the side, clean my pan, and then sieve through in that pan. I'm all done, so I've passed everything through a sieve, and as you can see, I just want to show you the texture, even though it looks a bit granular here, but if I put my spoon, you would see that it is a very smooth and clean type of puree. So you can use a little whisk, and the same story applies here, except that we're not going to add any potato or anything like this because it's more of a gourmet, and for me the cream is always a favorite. So you can go a little bit at a time, see what you want, and we're going to slow cook this, really incorporate the cream, and warming up gently and let the cream thicken ever so slightly, and that's it. We've got our free mash. So I'm going to put them all on a plate and we're going to do a comparison. And here we are. So these are the free mash. I don't know if you can see with the color. Similar but different. This is the potato, starchy vegetable, that nice color, nice and buttery, nice, there's no water at all. The turnip, still white, but slightly different color, but very wet. And here's the gourmet type of carrot mash. So the important thing to remember here, when you make mash like this, know your type of vegetables. Starchy are good. If it's too wet like this, you can add some starchy vegetable in it to adjust the level of wetness, okay? The common practice usually I think in restaurants is use a muslin cloth or cheesecloth to have your vegetables and press them to remove the excess of water and then start to work with the sieve, with the cream, etc, etc. But these are just the 3 examples. But that's it, that completes our video of the week with the French vegetable puree, les purées de légumes as they're called, and as you can see, making them is a bit more complex than it seems, and this is part of the basic skills we need to learn. So as always, if you have any question regarding the videos, use the comment section. If you want to share your pictures, use hashtag French Cook Academy for Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook and Patreon, and if you want to learn this cooking basic, don't forget we've got the online school always open, and you're all always welcome. I'll see you all next week, this time with a recipe. We're back on the stove and we're going to start cooking again. See you then, bye bye.